What better way for me to be prepared than to not be prepared at all? I need to get some water. I've got not that much left here, as you can tell. Oh, what was I going to talk about? Oh, I remember. I was going to talk about the first job that I had. And I remember applying there. This was back in 2000 and... How did I forget? Oh, 2006 or 7. I think it was 2006. One of the two. But I remember I needed a job. And I didn't have any money at all. I would go to a place to buy something. And I was hungry. I needed a snack. And I had no money. So I was like, you know what? I think I need to get a job. What am I doing with my life? I spent most of my day just sitting around playing RuneScape. And that's basically what my day consisted of. That and some drawing. So I went to apply for the job and they asked me, what is your prior job experience and what are some of your skills? And I told them I'm good at drawing and other pointless things that had nothing to do with applying for the job. And so during the interview, they asked me some other questions. And the job that I was getting for this was not that far of a walk. And I had just moved here to Ohio from Florida. And this was 2006. And this was the summer of it, I believe. And I had just moved here. And so I get there, they ask me a bunch of questions, and they ask me what my skills are. And as I said, I told them my skills are drawing and some other meaning, like that had nothing to do with the job really. And then they asked me, what prior job experience do you have that you feel would be beneficial for starting this job? And I was like, what job experience? Because it was my first time applying for a job. And I didn't have any job before. So it felt like a trick question or something. So I told them, this is my first time applying for a job. And I don't really have any experience. But I can't get any experience unless I apply and start. So, yeah. I've been asked that at other times I've applied to places. They asked me, what is your previous job experience? And it's at a job that I'm applying for that I've never done anything in this field. So, I don't know. But anyways, I remember when I got the job there, once I got hired, they said, okay, you're hired. They called me. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, wait, I gotta start doing this adult stuff now. I was 15 at the time. No, this was 2007. Yeah, it wasn't 2006 because I started this when I was 16. This would have been before my junior year, I think. Yeah. I've got to get everything right in my time, years. But, so when I was working there, I started, and the first day I remember when I woke up and I had to go to work, I was like, I wonder what I'm going to do. The obvious thing is going to be that I'm going to make chicken. Because this was KFC. Did I say Burger King earlier? This is KFC. I don't know why I said Burger King. That was another time. So, when I first started the job, and I got up that morning, I was like, okay, I've got to go make a bunch of chicken. I guess that's all you do there. And so they teach me some things about how to make the chicken, what health rules that you have to follow. And then we also had to make different kinds of chicken. There was like the original, and there was crispy, and then there was we had to make like this cornbread stuff, and then a bunch of these like bowls that they eat, the macaroni cheese bowls, and they had all this chicken at the end of the night that they didn't need one time. And I didn't have any interest in eating it. After I had worked there one day, I felt very greasy all over, like all my skin. It was like my hair. I wanted to go home and shower and get all the grease off of me. And I remember when I got home, and my stepdad's dog would just follow me around the house for hours because I smelled like chicken. And so I tried to wash the clothes like twice a week or 3 times a week because I don't think that smell's ever going to go away. I don't know whatever happened to those clothes, but I don't think those clothes can ever deteriorate, especially as much oil is in them. Like, I think 1,000 years. But, anyways, so I smelled like chicken all the time, everywhere I went. And even after I had changed, put different clothes on, and I'd taken a shower and everything, I still smell like chicken. And I remember going to school and people were like, "Why do you smell like chicken all the time? Is that all you eat?" I'm like, "No, actually, I'm tired of being around chicken. I'm tired of seeing chickens. I'm tired of cooking chicken. Yeah, but it was what I had to do to make money." And then we had this one little, the thing that we cooked in to cook the chicken. It wasn't working right. And I remember that the one little handle broke on it after I'd worked there for a while. And so you had to push it in and then down and forward. And I would have put the chicken in and it wouldn't go in right because one handle's broken. And then I could see the chicken boiling and cooking, and then it wouldn't go down all the way. So I'd lift it up and then put it back down again. And yeah, that was a bit annoying. And I worked there for quite a while. But there was a lot of different things that I learned that I had to do. I mean, I thought I just had to make chicken. But I had to make the chicken, had to make different types of chicken, had to learn about the different temperatures and how long to cook them, how long to make the cornbread, the coleslaw, the macaroni bowls, all these other things. And I didn't even eat any of it. And then how to make all these different drinks and the different sodas and like how much ice you're supposed to put in things. For all the orders. And then there's what else did we have? I had this walk-in freezer that we had, and getting some more water here. So this walk-in freezer that we had, it wasn't that big, but there's a lot of stuff packed in there, and I would have to stock everything in there, organize it, and get it all ready for our next delivery. And then we had these different bags, I remember, that we got. It was their secret recipe for the chicken. And there's a certain amount that you had to use. You had to put the chicken in the flour for a certain amount of times and mix it together. And there's so many different steps at all that. And then I had to do dishes all the time. I remember so many times that I wanted to go home, but I had to stay over and do dishes. So then after that, for maybe a couple of years, I did not like doing dishes. Although I was really quick at doing them, I just got tired of doing dishes all the time. And then we had to do all kinds of cleaning. And then at the end of the day, we had like the whole tile floor. We had to spray it down and get all the goo and everything off of it because it was like real sticky and really greasy. I mean, I remember spraying it with hot water and then scraping it even more and then spraying it with more hot water. And then the oil would just not go away. And we had to use a soap. This one time we had to use this like really a concentrated cleaner, like soap stuff for the floor. And they told me, "Oh, go ahead and pour some on there." So I poured some on there as much as they told me to. And then the problem I had, I was mopping for like 2 hours because there was soap all over the place. It was, I don't know if it was a joke, but I was mopping for like 2 hours. But it definitely got all the oil off the floor. And the problem I had is even though I had shoes for work that were supposed to be slip resistant, and they were supposed to keep you from slipping on oil, I still kept slipping all over the place. And yeah, that was an issue. I remember so many times I'd be standing there and I'd go to turn around and my foot would slip and I'd hit my knee on the steel tables or like the whole cooking equipment that was steel, and I had really hard corners and I'd hit my knee on it so many times. And then I remember a time when I was making some chicken. When I went to put the chicken in, I don't know what happened, but I think it has something to do with the handle, that one broken handle. Like there's one bar going across and there's two bars coming out attaching to it, and the one on, it was left or right side, I don't remember, but one side of it was broken, and I went to put the chicken in and then go in right, and the oil splashed over and I got some oil in my hand. I don't think I have any. I used to have a burn mark on it for a couple of years. Then it healed up and went away, but I can't really find it on my hand anymore. So luckily that's all gone. And luckily I didn't get it anywhere else on me. But yeah, that thing was annoying. But I figured out a way to do it after a while. And then we had to take the trash out. And the trash smelled really bad because of all like the chicken scraps and all that stuff and the oil. And I remember my shoes, I would take them when I get home. I would spray them down with the hose out back in the yard, and I would clean the bottom of them as much as I could. And I went through different types of pairs of shoes that were oil and slip resistant, and none of them worked. No matter which shoe I got and wore, it did not work very well. And I thought about getting like snowshoes or something, but that would probably mess up the floor. And so later on, after dealing with that, I learned little tricks here and there about how to make things quicker and more efficiently. And I remember one day, I don't know why, but there was a timer on the machine to cook the chicken, to make the chicken, to cook it, and it has a temperature and all that, right? It's already I can't remember if they updated the machines or not, but there was a point to where the machines, you had to put in a time and everything, and then after they updated them, you had like a button you would push for like original or extra crispy or another kind. And when we went to just pushing the buttons, I remember the manager, they told me to hurry up and cook faster. But I was confused by that. I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to cook faster because the chicken was already in there. It had like 20 minutes. And I think it was like 20 or 25 minutes or something like that. And I'm just standing there and I was like, I can't do anything. It's got 19 minutes left. I put it in there. And then they told me to hurry up and make more. Like, well, there's nothing I can do. We've got one machine. It's completely full. The other machine is for the extra crispy chicken. Like you put it in, that's like little pieces, and you cook them. And then there was like another one like right beside that for making the fries. Yeah, I remember I had to make the fries, the crispy chicken, and the original chicken, and the coleslaw, mac and cheese, and cornbread, and all that. And then we had these things like biscuits I had to make all the time, and those were timed as well. I can't remember how long the time was on them, but I remember being told that I needed to hurry up and make them faster, which was kind of weird being that they're in there, they have 15 minutes. I'm just standing there, and they tell me to hurry up and cook them faster. I don't know. I had no way to control the temperature, so it's not really good to raise the temperature a lot on something like that and try to cook it super fast because it's not going to taste right. But anyways, that didn't make any sense to me. But I remember I also had to take the trash out, and this was like, I think it was my only, because this was in 2007 then, yeah. And so I had lived there for a year, so I'd only went through one winter. And so then the second winter, I started in, I think it was the summer. I think it was like very late spring or something like that I started, or like really early summer of 2007. And Yeah, it might have been late spring that I started. So I started working there at that time. And I remember once the first winter came around, I had to take trash out. And there was always so much snow in front of the door. I would go open the door, and it was like a pile of snow out there. So I had to walk all the way around and then shovel all that snow out of the way and then come back in because they told us we couldn't leave the door propped open. So I couldn't just like push the door open some and like wedge something in there so I can get it back open. Because what I had to do was like walk around, shovel it, and then come back in. I couldn't like prop it open some and then go around, shovel it, and then come through that same door. And I remember so many times those shoes that I wore, they were supposed to be oil resistant. I bought these like, I don't know, they're like cheap shoes for like $20. And then I upgraded them to like $50 shoes, and those didn't work. And I got like $100 shoes, and those were the best I could find, and they worked better than the other ones, but wasn't that much of a difference. And so then I remember going out there to take the trash out, and it was a lot of snow outside, and it was like icy. And ice and oil in your shoes does not go well together. So I went to the trash can, had the big trash bag, went to throw it in there, and then I slipped and about fall. And then luckily I didn't have to go far for the trash. It wasn't like I had to go a block away or something. It was just behind the building. And one thing that made it tough was sometimes the top of the whole trash can of one of those huge dumpsters, the two lids, they were about maybe 5 or 6 feet long. There's two of them. You have to lift them up. But the problem was that they would get covered in snow, and things feel like they were 200 pounds. So I had to like push them up really hard to get all the snow off of it. And then I come back in, and more chicken making time. But yeah, there was one time, I don't know what was going on or why, but there was this guy. I rode my bike to work all the time. And I had it, I put a bike lock on it. And I put the bike lock, I didn't put it only around the frame. I put it around the frame, up above the handlebar, around the shifter, and then in between the chain, and around the chain on the bike, and through the wheel. So it's impossible to take it. You'd have to pick it up and carry it over your head. And it was a mountain bike. And I remember it was... I think it was, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a red and black and a little bit of white. It was like a mixture of colors, but it was mostly red and with a little bit of black paint on it. And I had my bike locked up out there, and some guy came up while I was in there working, and I noticed him walking towards my bike, looking at it, looking like he was going to take it. And so I see him jump on the bike, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy is not very bright. Because I have like so many, like the bike lock and everything that goes on there is like interlocked all over the place. You can't pedal the thing, it won't work. So I walk out there, I'm standing there, I'm looking at him, and the bike doesn't move. And I told him, like, you know whose bike that is? He's like, yeah, it's my friend's. He didn't tell me to put a lock on it, and I told him, like, you're lying. That's my bike. And I don't know why, because it wasn't an expensive bike. It was like, I don't know, maybe $80 or something, $100. It wasn't a whole lot. And to do that in front of everybody there wasn't very smart. So then I started locking my bike behind the place, and there was like this metal tubing that was beside the building, and it was like, I don't know what it was for, but it was like this metal pipes behind the building, and I would lock my bike onto that, because out front, my bike, I just had it like tied to a post, but you could lift it up over it. So I went and tied it behind there. Then after that, and then people quit bothering it. But yeah, I worked there from 2007 2009. So 2 years. Yeah, I worked there about 2.5 years. And then I got a job at a retail store after that. But I had periods where I didn't work that many hours. Like I worked like 1 day a week or something. And then there's one time, I don't know what was going on. It was like in the spring after I worked there for like a year, to where I wasn't scheduled for like a month. I don't know what happened. They didn't tell me they were getting rid of me or nothing. I didn't do anything. And then so it had been weeks and weeks went by before I was scheduled. And so I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. And so much time had gone by that I didn't work that I forgot that I actually worked there. And I woke up one morning and they called me and they're like, hey, we need you to come into work today. We don't have anybody to make the chicken for us. We don't have a cook. Some water again. And I was like, do you really need me? They're like, yeah. So I said, sure, I'll come in. And then I went in, and then after that, I was working like a whole bunch more hours. And apparently one of the other workers that was there, they had quit. And after I worked there for a while, they started calling me the Colonel because I just made so much chicken. Because I could prepare everything really fast and get it done. And then I would run, like have nothing to do, and I'd just be standing there because I would get everything cleaned, while the food was cooking. Like say it was in there cooking for half an hour or 20 minutes. During that 20 or 30 minutes, I would just clean as much as I could as fast as possible. And then once the food's done cooking, I'd take it out, clean everything again, and then I would just have some downtime. And I would just talk to the workers because we actually had nothing to do if like all the food is prepared, all the chicken is made, all the biscuits is made, all the little bowls and everything, because this type of stuff, you don't want to prepare too much ahead of time because then it goes stale. The taste quality of it isn't very good. It's not like a type of job where like say that you keep it, like say if you cut something up and refrigerate it, that's something that can last for maybe 4 days or maybe up to 5 days or a week before you notice a difference in the taste. But when you take something and you cook it and it's something that's supposed to be eaten within a couple of hours or less, you don't want to make a whole bunch of it at once because we had one worker that did that one time. They made up must have been like 200 biscuits or something. We only made, I think, maybe no more than like 60 at a time. No more than that. Like if we were really busy, like some days, like if it was like the first of the month and we knew we were going to be crazy busy, I'd make 100 of them. But one day someone made like 200 of these biscuits, and so I come in and I see all the biscuits. I was like, what just happened? They're like, oh, such and such made 200 biscuits, and now we've got to throw half of them away or more because no one's going to eat these because they dried out, because we had to keep them warm. And when we put these little biscuits on these, it was like this huge metal rack that was different levels to it, and we put the different foods in there. Like some racks was just for chicken. I think it was on the left side was all chicken. Then the right side was all like stuff like mac and cheese and like the fries. And then I think like the biscuits and stuff like that. They were kept at a temperature that was warm, and the chicken was kept at a higher temperature, and the biscuits and all that was like a lower temperature. And I think it was like I think the biscuits I think the chicken was like maybe kept at a temperature of like 140 or something like that. I don't know, 150. I would say it's like 150, right? Maybe like that. And the biscuits and all was kept at like 120. I'm just making a guess. It's been a long time ago since I remember that, but they were divided into two different sections. And so if you made too many ahead of time, they would just dry out. And then it would be like rocks. Like they were like really, really hard biscuits. Like you could take them and like open cans with them or something. And same with the mac and cheese and all that. If you made too much of it ahead of time, then like the top layer of the cheese, like 2 inches of it would just get like dry and hard, and the rest would be gooey. So you couldn't make a whole bunch ahead of time because that was a problem. But what I would do is I would get everything done way ahead of time to get all of my cleaning done while the food is cooking. And then I would have all the drinks and stuff ready. I would have all the mac and cheese and coleslaw and biscuits and chicken ready, everything cleaned, everything prepped, everything done. And then I would just spend some downtime in between things, talking to other workers. And I think that's one of the reasons they liked me there, was because I would get everything done, and it made it easy for everybody. And so then they got some time to relax a little bit. We joke around, have some fun. And the drive-through, I think they asked me one time if I wanted to do the drive-through. But I told them, like, well, if I do the drive-through, who's going to do the cooking? And they're like, yeah, you got a point there. So I just stayed as the person that was doing all the cooking for making a lot of chicken. And I remember at night, as I said, I think I mentioned it earlier. Oh, I'm out of water. That we had all this chicken, and we had this buckets of it, and at night they were going to just throw it away, and I was like, well, I'll take some of it. So I would take these buckets of chicken, and I would put it on the handlebars of my bike, and I would try to ride home. It was like 100 pounds of chicken. I'm just trying to. Luckily, I didn't have to go far. It was like I only had to ride my bike maybe. Let's see. I think it's about maybe no more than a mile. I don't think, maybe a mile and a half to my house. So I'm gonna say it between a mile and a half to my house. It wasn't that far, but the road was really bumpy. This was before they restored the road, and there was bumps all over the place. Like the sidewalk was actually worse though, because like you'd have a section of the sidewalk to where there was some sidewalk, and then you would get to an intersection right there, like a street, and then there's no sidewalk. It's grass yard and stuff, and can't go on people's yards, so you have to go around. But then in that area is big potholes, and the potholes are filled with water, because this was like during the springtime, sometimes in the summer, most of the springtime, and then sometimes in the fall, because it rained a lot during those times here in Ohio. Like sometimes it would be night, like when it was dark out at night, because I usually worked a lot of the times night shift, and because I would go and work after I get done with school, and then in the summer I worked more hours. I would work like longer hours in the morning, like 8-hour shifts, and then at night shifts I would only work like a 4-hour to a 6-hour shift on average during the school days. And so I was riding my bike at night. And on the nights that there wasn't a moon out or nothing, if it wasn't a full moon or half moon, it was hard to see. And I didn't have any light or anything on my bike at the time. And I don't know if I just forgot to mention it, or maybe my parents forgot to get me a light on my bicycle so I could see where I'm going. But when there wasn't any moon out, if it wasn't a half moon or a full moon, I couldn't see the big potholes. It was full of water, so I'd be riding my bike and I would hit them. Water would splash everywhere, and I think 1 or 2 times or so, the water splashed and got all over chicken, and I just had to throw it away. But here I am riding this bike at night with buckets of chicken on it, and I smell like chicken, and everybody's dogs are barking at me, and I'm trying to get home without waking the whole neighborhood up because their dog's barking, because there's some guy riding on a bicycle carrying 100 pounds of bucket of chicken home to give to people. But yeah, I just handed out to people I knew. I didn't really know a whole lot of anybody at the time. I mean, there's my mom, my stepdad, my sister, and then like our neighbors. But I would just give it to my stepdad and my mom, and they would, like, anybody they knew, they would just hand it out to other people. And then later on, a friend's parents, I would give some of it to them. They would give it to a bunch of people, because later on I wasn't living with my stepdad and mom anymore. I'd moved out in 2009, I believe. I think it was 2009, and that was when I had gave some of it to them more often because I was living there. But anyways, yeah, Just me riding my bike home, smelling like chicken, with dogs barking at me. And, yeah, I got tired of chicken, making so much chicken all the time. And I got tired of, all the biscuits. I don't know why, but, like, they went through so many biscuits there. Remember, I would make so many. And then at times I would make more because I thought they were going to buy more. Then, like, nobody bought any. And then we had a bunch of stale biscuits. And then, I remember we had this one little section in the building where we had, like, these, I don't know what they were. It was like these little teddy bear, these packets, like cinnamon teddy bears, like cookies that we had to put in with meals. There's so many random things. Sometimes they'd change things in the menu. And they'd be like, hey, we need you to make this, but they didn't tell me that we had something new and different that we're making. And I was like, no one told me. So, yeah. But, yeah, I worked there for about 2.5, 3 years, somewhere around there. And made a lot of chicken. And I got to know some people. And all the people that I had worked with there, anybody that I'd gotten to know, I think there's only 2 people that I've talked to since after I quit working there in 2009. One of them I haven't seen in like a couple of years, maybe. Like 3 years, 2 or 3 years. Haven't seen them. And then the other one, I see that person like every other day when I'm out shopping or when I'm at work. Sometimes they come in, I say hi to them. But it's kind of makes me feel old that was like, let's see, 2020, 2007. So that was 13 years ago already that I started working there. Well, maybe 12 because, well, I'll just round it up to 13 because only a couple more months, like 2 or 3 more months, and it will be exactly 13 years since I started working there. But yeah, I made a lot of chicken, and they called me the Colonel, and they weren't happy to see me go, but the other job that I got for a job offer was a little bit better pay. I was going to be full-time. I had the opportunity to move up to higher positions and management positions at this job, so I went ahead and took the job offer. But I had good times there, a lot of good memories and funny things that happened. And if I can think of anything else when it comes to this topic for stories for when I worked there, I'll definitely write it down and make notes of it so I can talk about it again for another video. But for now, that's all I can really think of to say as far as that goes. But I am pretty sure there's a lot more things that I can remember and tell you about this. And when I remember it, I'll write it all down, put it together into another video. But go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, share this with your friends, and let me know in the comments below if you have any stories about some of the jobs that you've worked at, and if you worked at KFC or any other fast food place, and what your experience was like with that. But go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Go ahead and ask me any questions or anything else, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. But thank you for watching. Have a good day. Have a good night, wherever you are. And I'll see you in the next video. But I don't know what the next video topic is going to be about. But we'll see. I'll just wing it. Kind of like I did today. I wasn't even prepared. I turned the microphone on, turned the webcam on, started talking, and here we are. But anyways, I got to get going. I'm hungry, and I've got to go to bed. And no, I would not be eating any chicken. I don't know what I'm going to snack on. I might eat an apple and drink some milk. Kind of a weird combination, but oh well. Anyways, thanks for watching, and you have a good night. See you later. Have a good day.